Hello and welcome to Just My Thoughts. I'm your host Khaleel Ward. On this episode, I'll be talking about Umbrella Academy. It's a Netflix show. It's based on a comic book. It's about a family trying to come together to save the world. A very dysfunctional family at that. The story starts with a day in 1989 where 43 women give birth, and it's only strange because none of them were pregnant when the day began. And after all the births, this guy named Reginald Hargraves, he goes around and he tries to get as many kids as possible, and he's a billionaire, so he's just walking up to mothers and is like, oh, nice baby, how much do you want? And he eventually acquires 7 children. He's not the greatest father in the world. He didn't acquire them to be a dad or be a loving parent or anything like that. He acquired them to hone their abilities so they will one day save the world. So he's all business. He's trying to make sure each one of them knows how to use their power. He's trying to put them in situations where they can control their powers and just do good in the world. He doesn't really care for all the love. He has so many strict rules that forbid them to talk at certain points. They have training sessions and all types of stuff. He didn't even want to name them. He calls them by numbers. So I'm going to just go through real quick all the kids in this show. Number 1, he's Luther. He has like super strength, but there was an accident and he got much bigger than what he was when everybody was around. Number 2 is Diego. He has the ability, like when he throws stuff, he can curve it and manipulate it to his own doing. He usually uses knives, so he could throw a knife and it like can curve around the corner and hit his target. I don't know if he's like 100% accurate, like how they say Hawkeye and Bullseye, are in the comics, that they always hit their mark. But he throws knives and he can control them. Number 3 is Alison. She can manipulate people with her voice. She usually says, I heard a rumor, and then she can say whatever she wanted. Like, I heard a rumor you were sleepy and you will be sleepy. Or I heard a rumor that you wanted to give me money, and then that person will be willing to give up the money. So that's her ability. Number 4 is Klaus. He has a connection with the dead. Not only can he see them, but he can speak with them and interact with them. But he is also a junkie, and the voices in his head make him afraid to really talk to all the people he can hear. Number 5, that's his name. Number 5, he can teleport, and he can also time travel. More on that later. Number 6 is Ben. It seems he has like an alien with him. Like if he pulls up his shirt, he has like these alien arms that come out and they can attack people. However, he is dead when the story starts. Number 7 is Vanya. She has no abilities. She is the black sheep of the family because since she didn't have any abilities, she wasn't allowed to really go on missions. And she eventually wrote a tell-all book about everything that happened at the Umbrella Academy. So the story picks up and everybody is doing their own thing. They don't tell you when everybody broke off, but like Luther, he's on the moon for some reason. Diego is some vigilante crime fighter. Alison is an actress. Claus, again, is a junkie. Number 5 is not there when the story starts. We don't know what happened to him at the point. Ben, again, is dead. And Vanya, she plays the violin. So everybody is off doing their own thing. And eventually they see that their father has died. And they all go back to the house and interact with each other. And it's been probably like 12 years that they all have seen each other. Luther's been on the moon for like the past 4 years or something like that. So they don't really get along with each other. They despise their father and everything that he really put them through. And then and then number 5 comes back, and he says he was in the future and he saw the apocalypse and he has to stop it. And that's the story. That's the journey that these characters have to go on over 10 episodes. And it takes some time for them to get along. There's tension with everyone. Every time a character interacts with each other, they're supposed to be siblings, but they despise each other, and when they get upset with each other, they call them by their number. But there's also growth and character development with all of them. You just see their progression. There's not much discussion about what happened to Ben. You hear that it was like a horrific death for someone so young. So he died young, but they don't really go into detail what happened, or like if it was a mission or something like that went wrong. But the characters, they all play off each other really well. There's a connection between Alison and Luther. Diego and Luther don't really get along because one is number one, the other one's number two. Luther always wants to act like the leader. Diego is more of the I do what I want. It has the X-Men vibe. Like Luther reminds you of Cyclops in a way because he always wants to do the right thing, and Diego reminds you of Wolverine. He doesn't want to listen and he thinks he can take on everything by himself. So it does have that X-Men dynamic in terms of the clashing of the two leaders, or the two people who want to be leaders. You don't really see other superpowered people, and people are not really afraid of them. Like Alison is known because she's an actress and stuff like that, but you don't really see people glamoring over them when they see them out and about walking around, despite the tell-all book. There's also these two other characters named Cha-Cha and Jesus. One of them is played by Mary J. Blige, and they are assassins, but they were sent back to assassinate number 5. And with all the issues going on with the family, there's also issues with number 5 and where he's been all this time. He's been gone for so long. Like everybody else has grown up, but he's still stuck in the body of like a 13-year-old boy because he just wanted to time travel, and he went really far, and he was living in the apocalypse for a long time. But these people are back to kill him, and they think he's an old man, but turns out he's in his kid's body. And I like the dynamic between those two. You know, they're always cracking on each other, or they have their own way of doing things and have their system. And it's just a change of pace from all the family stuff that's going on. And they're pretty good at their job for the most part. But when they run across number 5 and they see his family and all the different abilities they have some trouble. So number 5 has his own dynamic going on that he tries to keep away from the family for the most part. He doesn't want to tell them about the apocalypse because he thinks he has a way of solving it. But there's always twists and turns that happen that lead him to trust his family more. Their father always said they would be better off together, but it takes them a while to finally figure that out. And it's not a heavy action-oriented show, but I really enjoyed the characters and watching them on screen progress. Number 5 is probably going to be a fan favorite because he's a jerk. He's a jackass for the most part, and he has some of the better action sequences because he could teleport. It reminds you of like Nightcrawler or something. He could teleport, and he's not afraid to take a life. But the show, it ends on a high note for me. The way things come together and progress, and the final scene is really, really good, and it was worth the watch for all the episodes. So it's a good show if you like supernatural people. If you like the X-Men, this is like a X-Men light in a way. You know, they're not called mutants, and it's not a bunch of mutants walking around, but they do have abilities, and they do try to use those abilities to do good in the world. But it's a solid show for me. I say go out and check it out on Netflix. It's 10 episodes, about like 45 minutes each, but you should enjoy the characters just as much as I did. So thank you for listening. If you have watched Umbrella Academy, who are some of your favorite characters? And let me know what you thought about the finale. Thank you for listening. Deuces.